Welcome to Microsoft Excel with EJD. In this video, we'll be looking at another tool in the Analysis ToolPak called correlation. Okay, it has close bearing with, I think, regression. Yeah. So let's see what correlation is about. Correlation, of course, is a statistical technique. It is a statistical technique. Okay. And what does it do? It is used to measure and describe describe the strength, the strength, the strength and direction of a relationship, of a relationship between two or more variables, between two or more variables, basically. Okay, that's it. That's what correlation does. In Microsoft Excel, the Analysis ToolPak offers a quick and efficient way to compute correlation coefficients through its built-in correlation tool, which is especially useful for large data sets or multivariate analysis. Of course, to use the correlation tool, in the Analysis ToolPak, you first need to ensure that the ToolPak is enabled via the add-ins section of Excel's options menu. Once activated, you can access it under the data tab. Okay, of course, we've been talking about that a lot. I'm going to demonstrate that very soon. Of course, when using the correlation tool, you input a range of data where each column represents a different variable and each row represents an observation. The tool calculates Pearson Pearson correlation, Pearson correlation coefficients. Okay. Now, this is not the only type of correlation coefficient that exists, but the correlation tool in the Analysis ToolPak in Microsoft Excel actually uses only the Pearson correlation coefficient. Maybe that can be not so good because I mean there are other ones. So Pearson correlation coefficient is basically it talks about linear relationships. So the tool calculates Pearson correlation coefficients, which ranges from -1 to +1. Okay. So a value close to +1 indicates strong positive correlation. So this talks about strong, oh, this is -1, right? It should be strong negative correlation, strong negative correlation. What that simply means is that as one value increases, the other one decreases. If the correlation between them is strong and negative, then this talks about strong, anything close to +1 talks about strong positive correlation, strong positive correlation. Okay. Of course, maybe you have 0 somewhere in between. So a value close to +1 indicates a strong positive linear relationship, while a value close to -1 suggests a strong negative linear relationship. A value near 0 implies little to no correlation. So anything around here, talks about little or no correlation. Okay. I think I treated that also under my statistics playlist, which you can easily check. Check the statistics playlist. You see where I talked about Pearson correlation and even Spearman. All right. A value near 0, of course. The output is a symmetric correlation matrix where each cell shows the correlation between a pair of variables. This matrix helps analysts quickly identify which variables are closely related. The diagonal of the matrix always contains ones, as each variable is perfectly correlated with itself. So every variable is perfectly correlated with itself. That's an established fact. So the correlation tool is widely used in fields like, okay, let's go for it first. Okay, let me just talk about this since I've started. The correlation tool is widely used in fields like finance to analyze relationships between stocks, psychology to examine associations between behavioral traits, marketing to study consumer behavior patterns, and data science as a preliminary step before regression or machine learning modeling. Now, you need to know correlation sometimes so that you can eliminate variables that are closely correlated. So you can eliminate, you can use, if like three variables are closely correlated, to avoid multi-correlation, you want to maybe drop two of them. So you can use only one because that one is enough to represent the others. Okay, so let's go ahead and do something practical. Imagine, okay, I have two sheets here. This one has just two variables. This one has four variables. Let's start with the first one. Of course, before you can do correlation, just like in every other situation, you have to click on data, come to the data tab, and be sure this data analysis tool is here. So how did it get here in the first place? Imagine that I go to file, for instance, and I go to options, and then I come to add-ins. I click on add-ins, then I come to go. So on that go, then I click on check this analysis to pack and say, okay, see, there's this analysis here right now. Once I click OK, it's gone. All right. But if it's gone, I cannot do correlation because I'm using the analysis toolpak. So how do I get it back there? Same procedure. Go to file, click on options, then go to add-ins, then click on go, then check analysis toolpak. All right. Check it and then okay. So once that is okay, then you're good to go for correlation. So you can then click on data analysis, right? Takes a bit of time and then it brings all these possibilities. So we are talking about correlation. So I click on correlation and click on OK. Once that comes, it's asking me for the input range. So I click inside this cell, then I highlight the input range starting from the headings. Headings are allowed here. So I have 100 data points. Okay, so done. So with that in place now, so you can see I'm looking at the correlation between study hours and test scores. How do study hours relate to test scores? Does more study hour translate to higher test scores? That's what the question we are trying to answer in this situation. Because we have labels at the top in the first row, we say we click on this labels in first row so that we can be sure that is not modeled together with the numbers. So and then we have output range. Where do you want your result to show? Let's assume I want my result to show here. Okay, click here first. Then you can now click where you want the result to show. E1 right there. And I think every other thing is done. So we are good. So if you add it in rows, then you use rows instead of columns. So I have mine in two columns. So that's why I'm using columns. So I just click OK. In one blow, you have your result out here. So you can click on this to expand so you can actually see what's going on. Okay, so see now, just like we said, on the diagonal, we have ones because study hours and study hours is perfectly, every variable is perfectly correlated with itself, just like test score and test score together. But then what really matters here is this place. So we need this result in particular. So the correlation between test scores and study hours is 0.996164. That's positive, first of all, and it is very close to one. So that means strong positive correlation, meaning that the higher the study hours, the higher the test score based on the data we have in this situation. So that's the simple thing about correlation. Of course, let's look at the multiple situation. It's even better with multiple if you have many things like this. So again, you just go the same way, go to data, click on data analysis. Correlation is already highlighted, so I just click on OK. But now the input range is different. So I come here now and delete what we had there before, and then I can now highlight from A1 down to the last part. So I'm highlighting all the variables together like that with all the variables and the data points. So that's highlighted from A1 to D101. So my input range now can change slightly because here this is up to D. Maybe I want my results to I'll give it two spaces, E and F. Then I let this one go to G. So I can actually do the G directly from here. So okay, if it's confusing this way, let me just do, I can do $G and then one. I think every other thing is fine. We have labels at in the first row for sure. My data are in columns. If they were in rows, I would have chosen rows. So I think everything is good. So I just click on OK. Nice. So with that one blow, you have all your results showing right here. Okay. Then you don't want to pay too much attention to the diagonals because it shows perfect correlation of variables with themselves. So this is your result right here. So you want to pay attention to everything here, like all these ones now. So these results are really important. This is important. This is important. Everything below the principal, below the diagonal rather, is really important. So then based on the value we already know, how do we interpret all of this? First of all, if you look at test scores and study hours, of course, we already established that in the previous sheet that the higher the test scores, the higher the study hours. I mean, rather, the higher the study hours, the higher the test score. So that's positive, strong positive correlation. Then when we come to sleep hours and study hours now, so do sleep hours increase study hours? So you see, this one has a negative correlation. It's it's already bordering on strong positive correlation, but it is not. I mean, strong negative correlation because of the minus, right? That borders on strong negative correlation, but not as strong as maybe 0.9. Or we can even say it's like, since it's around 0.5, minus 0.5, we can close to 0.7. So we can say moderately strong negative correlation, meaning that the higher the sleep hours, the less the study hours, or the less the study hours. I mean, the higher the study hours, the less the sleep hours. So there's negative correlation, which is it's already bordering on strong. All right. How about sleep hours and test scores? So that's also some moderately strong negative correlation, meaning that the higher the sleep hours, the lower the test scores. The lower the test scores, the higher the sleep hours. So that kind of thing is what is going on. That's what this result of minus 0.66 tells us. Then we have screen time and study hours. So we have a strong positive correlation. This is really interesting that we have based on the data available, we have a strong positive correlation between screen time and study hours. That means the higher the screen time, the higher the study hours. So can we assume? I mean, this is curious, right? Screen time does not necessarily mean wasting time. It could just be maybe the person studies using their computer or they study using their TV or whatever. I mean, in these days of smart TVs and everything. So we can guess that probably the screen time here is not just to watch movies or play games. Probably it is the screen time for studies because I mean, normally based on the idea of screen time, everybody has, I think, screen time should be translating to less study hours. But this result is saying otherwise. That the higher the screen time, this is strong positive correlation. The stronger the screen time, the higher the screen time, the higher the study hours. So meaning that probably the study is being done on computer or something like that. Then let's look at screen time and test scores. Now we know test scores, screen time and study hours actually are strongly positively correlated, just like test scores and study hours. So we are not surprised that screen time and test scores are also strongly positively correlated. So since higher screen time translates to high study hours, that means that and high study hours translate to high test scores, then we can say that high screen time will also translate to high test scores. So in that case, you can already see that screen time, test scores, and study hours are they are they are all they are strongly positively correlated. So in that case, now you may just want to drop. So in an analysis, if you are doing like machine learning or something, you may want to drop two of them. You can just use test scores, right, to represent for screen time and study hours because they are all strongly positively correlated. So you can just drop two of them and use only test scores because whatever test scores is going to give you is what screen time and study hours will also give you. Then we have this last one here, which shows moderately negative correlation between screen time and sleep hours. So the higher the screen time, the higher the sleep hours, right? So of course, I think that makes sense, right? The more you are staring at the screen, the less sleep you get. All right. And the less sleep you get, the more likely you are to be on your computer. That's what this data is telling us. So, I mean, this is so beautiful that even if you have more variables, you can actually just do this whole thing in one blow. With this, I come to the end of this video about correlation with Analysis ToolPak in Microsoft Excel. Let me know how helpful this is for you. And if there's something you like when you try out, if there's an idea you like when you try out, feel very free to let me know. If you have not subscribed already, you are missing a whole lot. So go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and of course, you can get alerted that way when a new video is uploaded. Then you can become a member of this channel. Click on join, and you see three layers, three different levels of membership with special privileges. So feel free to avail yourself of that opportunity, and let's build this community together. Of course, but one of the perks of becoming a member is having one-on-one interactions with me if you belong to one of the levels of membership right there. So ultimately, don't forget to like, share, comment, and do all that so that more people can have access to the great content I have going on here. Till I come your way again, keep doing data right. Bye.